Did you know that more than 40,000 children are sexually abused each year in this state? Did you know, after age 18, New York State only allows 5 years for most survivors of childhood sexual abuse to access justice?
My name is Bridie Farrell. I grew up in Saratoga Springs, New York.
I grew up on Long Island in Freeport.
I grew up in the Bronx, New York. Yeah, and public housing.
I was abused by the Monsignor at the church. I was an altar boy.
Anna Lopez Wagner. I'm from Brooklyn, not the Brooklyn that you know today.
I grew up in Long Island. In the winters, we lived in Manhasset.
I grew up in Perth, New York.
I thought at the time, who on earth would believe me? If I were to stop it, then what retaliation?
Well, the person that abused me is one of the founding fathers of hip-hop. He was a person that I looked up to. So I didn't know who to trust, who to turn to, out of fear.
There are people who blame themselves, who have tremendous amounts of shame, believe it was their fault, or feel completely powerless to do anything about it. They feel invisible, they're not heard.
Typically, survivors come forward well into their 30s, 40s, and 50s because they have the strength and the wherewithal.
Júrame y júrale a Dios que tú nunca vas a hablar de esto. Esto es un secreto entre tú y entre yo y Dios. Si tú dices algo, tú sabes que tu mamá y tu papá se van a morir.
What can I do about this? How am I going to survive this?
He raped me. He raped me. And in this moment, I can actually feel it. I can feel his hand on my throat. I can feel his face next to mine. I can feel his hand on my mouth, saying in my ear that this will all be over soon, my son. And it's not over.
It's like a nightmare.
He took away such a core part of me.
It took 45 years for me to have the foundation and self-esteem to be able to confront my abuser.
I don't really have a lot of friends. I just shied away from everyone. Because it's hard for me to show love.
In those moments were the first times that I wanted to be dead. It's when the cycle of suicide, thoughts of suicide, thoughts of depression kind of got rooted in me. And that has been something that I've struggled with for the last 40 years.
I always think I have to survive and I have to fight. And sometimes I just don't know how to be.
My abuser was my stepfather. My mother also publicly fought to protect her husband. I would go to the ends of the earth for my children. I can't imagine anything or anyone stopping me from fixing it.
The average age that someone of child sexual abuse discloses is age 42. Allowing the period of time where we can press civil charges against these people and call them out is imperative for it to stop today.
Right now, as we speak, it's happening to some child.
The archaic statute of limitations in New York essentially prevents those that are injured from getting into the courthouse. It prevents them from having justice. And I often wonder why it is that victims of sexual abuse have to suffer without limitation. but those child sexual predators are protected by the limitation of time.
New York is one of the worst states in the union for childhood sexual abuse. New York needs to change the law.
These are just a few survivor stories from across New York State. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 6 men will have their own story. The numbers are staggering, but you can help. Please contact your New York State legislator now and tell them to vote yes on the Child Victims Act. All survivors deserve the right to seek justice. Visit www.nypasscva.com for more information on how you can help today.